Hello. Welcome to Christi's Couch. My name is Christi Lukasiak, and thanks for hanging out with me on my couch. Happy Thursday. Very exciting. I love Thursdays. I think they're my favorite day of the week because we're almost here on the weekend, but you still have like that little bit of anticipation. So yay for my fave, right? Well, I couldn't be more excited about this week's episode. I was actually a guest on Mystic Michaela's podcast a few weeks ago. I will link it in the show notes if you missed it, but she has an amazing podcast. Actually, Mystic Michaela was my very first guest on Christi's Couch. And she is one of my favorite people. She just has such a bright and sunny energy about her. And she's fun to talk to and she gets it. And when I was a guest on her podcast, she actually had asked me, I shouldn't say that. I think I ended up asking her to come back on mine because I wanted to talk about how different reality shows cast different people, different auras, like everybody is kind of, a stereotype, so to speak. So I was curious to see or hear if different reality shows cast different auras, if it's the same thing over and over and over again. And so anyway, once I kind of brought that up, I said, hey, can you come on to my show again? And can we talk about the cast from Dance Moms auras? And it was the whole conversation is just so fun. It's everything I could have hoped for and more with analyzing us as people. Oh, sorry, my computer just gave me a notification. And I cannot wait to get into it. So we're going to get into it just in a moment because we did talk for quite some time. This is a super long episode. But I did want to say Mystic Michaela, I should say, her podcast is Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela, and her Instagram is at Mystic Michaela, and her podcast is at Know Your Aura Pod. But she talks about different auras and how they react. And it's interesting because I actually have the same aura as someone else on the cast. Can you guess who? You're going to find out. But it was really fun to hear like the different personalities and what she could tell. And what was really fascinating is the fact that Michaela didn't really watch the show too much. She knew it, of course, and she has seen episodes because she was she liked to watch the girls dance, but she had told me privately before that she really didn't watch it because it gave her anxiety. I mean, I can't imagine why that would be, but I totally get it. And so it was just such a fun conversation. So we're going to get into that in just a moment, but just a quick update on all things Lukasiak. What is going on in our world? Oh, we just had Easter. My Easter was so low key. I hope that you had an amazing Easter. I will be the first to admit, we are not churchgoers. We are not. My husband was raised Catholic. I was raised really nothing. But my girls are both baptized Catholics, confirmation, the whole thing. But we only go to church on the major holidays. I don't know. That's just our thing. I mean, don't come at me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk religion, whatever. But the point is we don't go to church a whole lot. But this Easter, we actually did not go to church because of just, social distancing and the limited capacity. And the other thing we normally do on Easter, it's been my family's tradition for years to go to California. And we always do a big brunch at Hotel Bel Air, which sounds so pretentious for me to say. But it's kind of been our family tradition, we don't do a ton of I give the kids a little bit of candy and stuff, but we always go to church and then go to this big, beautiful brunch and just really enjoy it because the garden is gorgeous and they have, Easter egg hunts and photos with the Easter bunny and it's really, really fun. And over the years, okay, this is kind of fun and gossipy because, I've been lucky enough to be at this location where a lot of very famous people celebrate their Easter as well. So we have run into quite a few interesting people at this brunch each year. Let's see. We saw Ringo Starr one year, and my mother-in-law literally almost fainted because she was so excited to see a Beatle. And look, I love the Beatles, like hardcore love the Beatles. So that was fun. We saw Ringo. We saw Jessica Alba was sitting at the table next to us. Orlando Bloom was there one year holding a dog. He had like his little dog he was holding. And then he actually met Miranda Kerr, I guess, to pass off their son. And she was very, very pregnant at the time with her younger baby. And she's so beautiful in real life. But probably my favorite Easter story was Reese Witherspoon. So Reese is actually married to a Pittsburgh guy. He's a big agent and stuff, but he's from Pittsburgh. And Claire was pretty little at the time, but Claire was very precocious and outgoing and just not afraid of anybody or intimidated by anything. And the way we were sitting, like I couldn't really see. She was sitting more in the courtyard. We were like in the one side of the restaurant and the doors were all open, but there was sort of a column in the way. And so Clara got up and I thought she was going to the bathroom. And she was probably, I want to say, if I had to guess, I would say maybe 7. I want to say 7. Maybe a little younger. She could have been 6. I feel like 6 or 7. Anyway, she had actually just auditioned for Big Little Lies. She actually auditioned to play Reese's younger daughter, Chloe, in the series. And fun fact, like when Claire was younger, she would get Reese Witherspoon either to play her daughter or a younger version of Reese auditions all the time. Like all the time. If I knew there was anything Reese related coming out, that Claire was getting an audition, and she always did. So anyway, she ended up getting a call back for Big Little Lies and all of those things. But so what was interesting was that Clara walked right over to their table and she's like, hello, Miss Witherspoon. And she's like, hi, my name is Clara. And she's like, and I just wanted to tell you happy Easter. And she's like, I auditioned for Big Little Lies and I didn't get it, but that's okay. I still love Legally Blonde because you like pink and I like pink. And she just had this full conversation with her. And Reese was like, who are you? And then Clara turned to her husband and was like, and you're from Pittsburgh. And she said, do you like the Penguins? Like the hockey team. And so she had this full conversation. She like comes back to the table like a cat that ate the canary. And she sits down and she tells us like what she's like, I just talked to Elle Woods. And we were like, what? And then I said, oh, I wish you would have gotten a picture. And she looked at me and she said, Mom, I don't need the picture. I had the experience. So out of the mouths of babes, right? So that's kind of one of my fun Easter stories from years past. But this year was very low-key. We didn't do much. We went for a walk. Like we had dinner. I cooked. We just hung out at home. Honestly, I know I've been bitching for the last couple of weeks that I've been crushed with work. So it was really nice just to have the weekend to relax. Chloe did not come home. She has lots of school going on. So she was like, oh, I don't want to fly and then fly back. And, I get it. They didn't really have a break. So totally fine. But I hope that you had an amazing Easter as well. So let's get into this Mystic Michaela interview because it's so interesting and I can't wait for you to hear it. You are going to die when you hear how dead on she can read the cast of Dance Moms. So without further ado, let's chat with Michaela. Oh, well, I am so excited that Mystic Michaela is back on Christi's couch. Hello, Michaela.
Hey, Christi, thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
Oh, my
this is
God.
A fun continuation of a conversation we were having earlier, so I'm excited about it.
Yes. Well, okay, so you were my very first guest on Christi's couch. And
Yes.
So you're kind of like, you're my OG. And I'm excited to have you back. And I was really lucky enough to be a guest on your podcast. Now, I'm not sure quite when that episode is released, so hopefully that's out so that as people are listening to this conversation, they can go back and listen to your podcast and get kind of like the beginnings and figure out hear the seeds of where this conversation came from. So do you want to talk about where they can find you and when that episode is, they can hear that?
Yeah, that's coming out, I think this Wednesday, at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela.
Yes. And I love that. It's so exciting. So, okay. So when I first had you on, I had so many people in like my DMs and on social media who were, you know, like, oh my God, I have to have her read me. This is so cool. And I know that you are a very busy woman and have lots of clients, but I was like, hey, reach out. But then all of my friends were like, can you get me in? And I was like, well, I mean, I can so refer you. But it was really funny how interested people were in just what you do. So you definitely, I think, people were totally interested and like into it. And I think because you are a psychic, but it doesn't come off. I think sometimes people can be a little afraid of psychics.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, they don't want to hear bad or good, but you just have such a positive energy about you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Like my big thing is just, you know, I see aura colors around people and it's just a manifestation of your own energy. And I tried, my passion is getting you to figure yourself out. I think like the real connection with spirit is when you can look at yourself and really look at not just the actions that you take in life, but what your motivations are. And that just helps you make better choices and better decisions and learn from things so that you can make just more authentic life choices moving forward. And that's kind of what I do, maybe a little differently than just telling you, oh my God, you know, when am I going to meet my boyfriend or whatever? It's a little bit deeper than that. And so it's like a journey of self-discovery. And that's really what it's all about. Like when you connect with a greater power.
Well, I think that's the journey of life, regardless if you say like source or God or, you know, Buddha, whatever you believe, it's all the same. It's just packaged differently, I think, in my opinion. But what do I know?
I agree.
But it really is. It's just like, okay, so life is, and how many times have we heard in life, like you get out what you put in, or I guess reverse, like whatever you send out into the universe, that's what you attract. And it's like figuring your things out and just kind of like you said, it's a manifestation of your energy. Now, wait, okay, so I've had a really shitty 2 weeks. So is my aura like black like Pigpen right now? Because I feel like Pigpen.
That's so funny. Well, when I look at you, you're yellow purple, and I can see with you, sometimes you're yellow, like when you're having a hard time. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. Like before I start, I'm like, I'm going to look, because I never watched Dance Moms. So I'm like, I'm going to go on YouTube and just watch, I don't know, Dance Moms. And the thing that comes up was like Dance Moms Greatest Fights or something.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm in every one of them.
Yeah, you're so funny. But when you get angry, your yellow just really pops. Like, so that's the part of you that's like, but then your purple gets really kind of like bursty. So it's like, you know, I feel like you have big feelings. You have a big heart. And then like, oh, and then you want to protect that. And then out comes like your yellow. And that's like your logic. Like, and I'm going to tell you this and this and this, and here are reasons, and just listen to me. And we're not done until you know, and I think that when you go through a hard time, you can want to protect your heart. And then you get a little bit stressed with being, okay, let's get organized. Let's get logical. Let's get my to-do list. You can kind of torture yourself with, I feel like your perfectionism or just kind of how you, I don't know, really hit the ground running. And I can see you working yourself extra hard when you're stressed.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's who I am as a person. I focus all of my whatever stress into, like I channel it into work. And I love when people are like, how do you de-stress? And I'm like, well, I just work. Because it's so counterintuitive, but that's just, I don't want to say that's who I am, but I have to actively put things on my calendar to like do things for myself, like me time. I have to put it on my calendar. I don't do it.
It's good that you do that, though. That's good that you at least are aware, you know, you're self-aware that you have to carve it out.
Yeah. Oh, well, honestly, I just realized that about myself maybe 2 years ago, if that. Yeah. Well, I guess COVID, please. Like that whole year feels like I forget that year existed. So it was definitely 2 years ago. But just even putting it on my calendar reminds me to do it. But okay, so enough about me, but I am really excited because when I was on your podcast, we kind of had this moment where we were like, wait, we should do this.
We were having a moment. We had a total moment about it. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't even know how it came about, but I think we were just talking about different reality shows. And so I was like, I wonder if there are, because there's clearly stereotypes on reality television, obviously. And every cast has like A, B, and C. And then I started thinking about it from an aura perspective. I wonder if every cast has a different color. And that's kind of like, you know, your character. And so what better show to read the cast aura than Dance Moms, right?
I am so into this. Like, I'm really excited about this. Yes, and you're so right. I will, because I love reality TV. I watch lots of different reality shows, and they always typecast people, you know, the ones like the victim, or one's the manipulator, or one's the, I don't know, the passionate raging lunatic, or like whatever, and they always get the aura colors with there. So it's I swear these producers, these casting producers must have some sort, they definitely can sense the auras, because they always pick the same ones to kind of represent a certain, I don't know, angle they're trying to create.
I love that. Okay, so this is going to be so fun. So we're obviously going to go through, we're going to talk about people's auras, and then maybe, I don't know specifically, we can like figure out what their typecast is, and like if that makes sense. Because I feel like, look, the thing I always say about the show, and I will speak from the perspective of the moms, because that's obviously like, those are the women that I know the best, is that we are definitely, I mean, you see one side of people on reality, and people are multifaceted. So there's definitely more to someone than just like what you see on TV. But I think that there are traits that are easy to exploit, because that's kind of your most dominant personality feature. And that probably goes hand in hand with your aura color, right? That's kind of how I think of it.
Yeah, that's, you hit the nail on the head there. That's how I see it too. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's really cool. So I'm so excited to do this. Well, I'm going to let you start, because I know you've looked at the cast, and you just pick what cast member you want to start with, and we'll just talk about it.
I have to start with Abby.
Okay. That makes sense.
Man. Okay. So, you know, and I, like I've told you, we said this when we were on my podcast too, I only watched some episodes. I was never like an avid watcher of Dance Moms, because Abby stressed me out so much. So, she's blue and purple.
You're speaking my language.
Oh,
okay,
my gosh.
Wait, say that again.
Okay, so she's blue and purple. Now, what's interesting is, if you follow what I do, like blue and purple are empath colors, but just because you have the ability to feel other people's feelings as your own doesn't mean your intentions are always in line with making sure that they feel good things or whatever. So with Abby, like her being purple, she's intuitive. Like she can pick up things on the girls, and I'm sure you moms and stuff like that. And she's not always wrong, but her intention, once she has that information, is to manipulate or control. And so I get her kind of collecting information, or collecting weak points, or being there, you know, to support somebody's insecurities, and being, oh, look, see, I helped you with that, or look, see how I was there and nobody else was. Like, lean on me. And that was her way, because I feel like, and this is where my pity comes in for her in a lot of ways, because I feel like she must have had a lot going on in her life. Like, I feel like maybe she did have a struggled childhood or something like that, because I feel like she was looking for unconditional love from safe places, which would be children. Children are a very safe place to get unconditional love from. And then these moms who come in who want the best for their kid have to kind of like, now she has all the power. So she's in a very safe position where kids are leaning on her. Moms know that she's the one you have to go through for power. And now she doesn't feel like she's ever going to be rejected or unloved or unsafe. So it's a lot of depth there, but also a lot of sadness, and also a lot of not the best intentions.
Well, because I was going to say, if you want love, then why are you mean?
I know. Yeah, because she has this identity of victim. So I get that her identity is people leave me, I get disappointed, people disappoint me. This is how, you know, just she's always waiting for the other shoe to drop. So she's always treating people like they're going to do that to her, like they're going to hurt her. And at the end of the day, that's what ends up happening, because what you fear happens, you manifest.
Oh, yeah. Please. I've done that in my own life. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we all have, but she's like, I mean, it's just, I see these poor children who were like counting on her and giving all their vulnerabilities to her and everything. And then just the things she would say to them, or the ways she would try to get in between the girls and their mothers, or things like that. It just, it's about her at the end of the day. And I think that really comes through.
Okay. So that's an empath person who uses her ability to pick up on people to manipulate and to kind of like control but it's sort of like, I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me kind of thing.
Yes. It's a knee-jerk reaction. It's kind of like empath gone wrong, or kind of like the shadow side of it. And I think we've all known somebody who we felt for them, and we wanted good for them and whatnot, but at the end of the day, they never trusted you, or they didn't trust that you know, I feel like with her, she doesn't trust people. And so she always keeps them at an arm's length and always keeps herself at a victim standpoint. And then she's mean, and then she'll rationalize it with, and I think we all know somebody who's like that. Like, you can't win, like one of those people.
Well, what about, you said this on, I believe you said this on your podcast, like there's almost an element of self-destruction, like you put things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and purples can do this a lot. Purple people, and you're purple and I'm purple. I think like if you're purple, you get it. It's like sometimes if you don't realize it in yourself, you can make a good thing blow up for some reason. And
Accurate.
It's because you want change. Like purple's like change, and purple's like things to always be passionate. But if you're raised in a certain way where, I don't know, drama is normal to you or destruction is normal to you, you can end up recreating it over and over again. And I just get with Abby, like it's sad. And I haven't followed her since the show. I know she had like legal troubles or something like that, but I get with her. I mean, she just self-destructed the whole thing. There were probably a lot of times where she turned her head in another direction using that, I guess, mentality of I'm a victim, or it's not my problem, or I don't have to worry about this, or, you know, I have control, or all this stuff. And then she ignored things that ended up blowing up in her face. And she self-destructed. And, you know, I always wonder, like, the way people leave things is how they feel they deserve it. And I feel like at the very core of her, she doesn't feel like she's worth a whole lot. And I get that just reflects in how she just really screwed up what she built, which is, it's sad, but at the same time, you know, you reap what you sow. Like a lot of, I just never liked how she talked to the kids. Like that really upset me, especially in the world of dance and like with the bodies and things like that. And a lot of adult concepts for things that kids aren't ready to handle and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. That's really interesting. So, very, very, that's, again, and that all makes sense. Like, I mean, without revealing too much, because I can't talk too much about a lot of the underhand things. Like, I obviously know a lot of these women on a lot. Like, I know them very well outside of just, like, what you see on TV. I've known people for a long time. I've known a lot of, like, backstories and things. And everything you're saying kind of makes sense on a lot of levels, for more than what you just saw on the show. And so that makes me actually that makes me sad for her. It really does.
I feel bad for her. Yeah, I do. And, you know, and I'm sure she, like, the way that she was portrayed, I feel like was just very surface level of how bad it could probably really was underneath. And and then it would make the moms get triggered, you know, and then like you'd come off looking like you're crazy, but you were just, but you're sensing what this is really about. Like, I feel like with you, especially Christi, you can sense people's intentions. So if somebody says something, or if there's some manipulation going on behind the scenes and nobody's saying it, watch out. Like your yellow goes like, I need to point that out immediately. This is what's going on. Admit it. So,
oh my God, that's my whole cast member character. Like, that's who I am on the show. And honestly, I can't look at people who I know when I just get that vibe from them, I can barely make eye contact with people like that. I just can't do it. I can't do, I can't explain it, which I'm always very shocked when people can be fake and they're able to just pretend and like kiss somebody's ass because it gets you like ahead or whatever you want to say. I can't even look at them. I'm like, oh.
Because it's like, just admit it. But that's a very yellow person. And you're purple too. So like the two of that together, it's like you feel it, you know what's going on. And then you just want them to flip and admit it. Like, just admit it.
Yeah.
And then we
just
can move
own
on.
Who you are.
Yeah. We can move on. But to be
own who you are.
calculated.
I'll respect you.
Yeah, but I think like, and that it's no wonder that you two had like probably such an interesting relationship, because that was her whole deal, is to not admit it. And your whole deal is like, I see what you're doing, frickin' admit it. And then that perpetuated her feeling of like victim, because like, oh, Christy's coming at me again. And, the whole thing was just like interesting to watch on television, I'm sure.
Well, what's funny is like she perceived herself as a victim when I looked at it as the kids were the victims.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
and it's amazing but I really feel like she felt that way about herself, which, I mean, it's not that it's true. It's just that I feel like that's how she felt. And because it's amazing how people do things and then they justify it in their own heads, and, maybe she never got past a certain age in her own head, so that when she saw all these kids, she could put herself on that level. And she didn't, see them as children. She saw them as, well, they're doing better than I am, or whatever. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's a lot going on with Abby there, but I mean,
okay, all right. I mean, that's very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, love. I don't want to say I love that, but I mean, I think that's really an interesting, like, hot take on all of it. So, who should we talk about next?
So my next one that popped out at me was Holly.
Okay.
Holly Fraser, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's funny. She has a red aura. She's like red and blue. And I feel like she has so I get with her, it's similar to the yellow thing, the red thing. Like when you sense an injustice, it's like, I'm going to need to talk about it. And I feel like I say that red people do this thing, and I call it red rants. And I don't, you have to tell me if she does this. Okay. You got to tell me, because I get like with her, she could get on something and like, it's really hard for her to get off of it. So, I mean, how that would work in the context of the show is if something wasn't fair, or she saw something going on behind the scenes that nobody was talking about up front, or there was an injustice or something like that, I can see her getting on it, and like it is impossible for her to get off it. And the funny thing with her, and I just get this with red people in general, but with Holly, is it's kind of like she wants to educate people at the same time
my God!
Tell them what's wrong.
That is Holly. That's amazing. Well, wait, one of her most favorite lines, because she did come from an education background. She was the principal of a school. She always says, literally, she says, as an educator.
Oh my, stop it. Like, that is so funny.
Yes.
Like she's trying to teach everybody in these moments where like Abby's having her victim moments and God knows what and this and that, and mom's yelling, and she's like, okay, everybody, let's have a moment to learn about. And it's like, all right, I can see it being funny and well-intentioned, but then you guys being like, listen, and we don't care. Like at the same time, but it's like she can't stop herself. Like that.
I feel like that's very accurate. And like no disrespect to Holly at all.
No, she's
a
riot.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like we're just in our feelings, and we're like, stop, we don't need educated. We need to be mad.
Yeah, like they just want, exactly. And she's like trying to make a learning moment out of it and bring logic into it and this and that. And she feels like a really great person in a crisis, a little bit too, like very, her head's together, and she's going to take a count to 10 and take a breath and whatnot.
Yeah.
All of that. But she feels like the adult in the room sometimes or whatnot. But
oh my God.
She cracks me up. Well, I'm married to a red person too, so red people always crack me up. So that's the vibe she gives me. You
couldn't have nailed her more accurately. Like you really couldn't. And I've known Holly forever, like literally forever. We lived in the same neighborhood. I love her and her family. Like she's amazing. And everything you have said is so like on the money. Like that is who she is as a person. And she honestly, on the show, she's quote unquote the voice of reason.
Oh,
correct?
That's funny.
Is that her stereotype?
that feels like what I'm getting from her. Just like, but the funniest thing I got was like the red rants. Like I can see her just having a really hard time letting a good point go.
Yes. Holly does have red rants like that. And again, when you hear red rants, it sounds negative, somebody's screaming and this, but no, it's very much, she's fixated on just telling you, like she literally has said to people, you're entitled to your wrong opinion.
She's like, but I can see with her like discourse is something that she really wants to have about something. Like, no, we need to sit down and just talk about this. I need to know why you think something that way because I don't agree with it. So we have to talk about that. And then I could just see like you and then the rest of you girls being like, please, we're done with this now. We've moved on. But no, she cracked me up, just her energy and just being the red woman. Cause I don't see red women are out there. It's just, they're not always widely accepted by other women sometimes because red women tend to, they're very interested. You know, they don't play games. That's a big thing.
Right.
And they don't play games and they kind of rise above that stuff. And they're often in leadership roles and they often get told that they're being too bossy or too assertive or too much like boys or that's what boys should do, not girls. So I always find it fascinating to see a red woman who made it work for herself. And there she is. And that's her what's her daughter's name? Because I have her daughter's picture too.
Nia.
Because when I look at Mia's got kind of a more, Mia's got more purple in her. So I can see Mia being a little bit more like, she understands her mom, but she's also going to take it a little bit further with some emotion. So I can see where like Holly can like hold it back a little bit sometimes and like, let's keep it to the facts or let's keep it to the point or let's keep it rational. I can see Mia, I mean, she's young too, but being like, yeah, and I'm going to call you out or I'm going to do, like, she just feels like she's a little more, I like to call it saucy, like that. Like purples can be a little saucy. So she's a really
with that.
Sweet girl. I like her, but I also feel like she also was given a lot of confidence through her mother to kind of take the stuff that she saw going on too and being like, no, this is really happening and my feelings are valid and all those things. So I feel like she really taught her kids to, I don't know, speak up for themselves and believe in themselves and a lot of confidence.
Yep.
Mia's got a lot of confidence. That's what I get from her. A lot of healthy confidence.
I love that. I do, especially because when Nia was little, she kind of had, I mean, there were certain people that kind of got like, I don't know, a bad, I don't want to say a bad rap. That's not it. Like Nia is lovely, but I mean, she got picked on a lot and was kind of like, you know, one of those, not by like, by the obvious person who picked on people on Dance Moms. Like she got called out a lot. And so I think people, like the viewers sometimes worried about, you know, is she okay? Well, they ask about the girls all the time, but I mean, I know Nia was definitely targeted at times. So glad to know that she has lots of confidence. And I'm not surprised. Like I've watched her grow up. I've watched all these girls grow up and it's really fun to like talk to them now as adults versus like the little kids I knew.
I love that.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. It's really fun.
Because they're like your kids too, right? Because like when you're in a dance company like that, if one kid has a boo-boo, that's your kid. Like that. Is that how that works?
1,000%.
Yeah. Aw.
And we used to say all the time, you know, God, and this is where it gets complicated and it's more like a sister family than other things is, yes, we would fight on television, but yes, we always checked in on each other's kids. And I would trust those women, most of them, to take my kids anywhere in the world because I knew that they would be cared for, you know?
Yes.
So, interesting.
It's a lot of emotions in a company like that. Okay, so the next person, that's a lot. Okay. Kira. You had her on your podcast, didn't you?
Yes. So Kira came on later. She's not an OG.
Okay.
She came on later, and the way she came on was very dramatic, which I'll mention how she came on when we get to another cast member because the story all goes, and I don't want to like give away too much about, you know, what you're going to reveal about Kira.
Okay.
But yeah, so she came from an interesting dynamic. So she wasn't someone that I've known forever. Like I've known everybody else forever. So I got to know her on TV.
Okay. When I look at Kira, she's got a lot of purple. And it's the
Okay.
kind of purple that doesn't mind a little spotlight, which is fine. Like all purple is like a little spotlight, but I feel like Kira's kind of like, okay, I'm ready for it, like that. So so when you say she came on, I feel like they kind of even prepped her like, hey, you know, you're going to be kind of like the odd one out in a way. And it's going to be like maybe a slower integration in. And I feel like she's comfortable like that because I get this thing with her and just women in general and how her life works is that people often perceive her a certain way and she's gotten so used to it, she just owns it. So I can see her being seen as, you know, purple shaming is a thing. I talk about it. It's like when, as a society, we'll look at women, especially who are purple, and we'll be like, oh, attention-seeking behavior, or look at what she's wearing, or look at how she's talking, or things like that. And I feel like Kira had a lot of that her whole life. So I get this kind of, as she's coming in, like this is probably something she was a bit attacked about. I also get that she would also use that and be like, yep, okay, if that's because it's been her whole life, she's like, all right, I'll just use that to my advantage then. I don't care, like that. And she would, you know, kind of got in that way because I guess get this thing, and I don't know if you gave me her daughter or not, but
Kalani
I got this.
is her daughter.
Oh, did I get that? I don't know if I have that one's picture. But when I look at her, I get this feeling that anything that she did was to make sure her kid got front and center. And if that meant that she was going to get, I guess, the heat, she'll take it. And I get this kind of vibe from her coming in that she knew that and she went on. You know, I get that she also doesn't like attitude from people. So if you give it to her, she'll give it back. But if you're nice to her, she'll be nice back too. So I get with her, she's very much like an observer. Like she'll come in, observe the things as is, and she'll react appropriately. I don't feel like she's the type of person that's going to come in and be super nice off the bat just to please everybody or make everybody else feel better. She's just going to be like, hey, if you're a secure, nice person, we're friends. And if you're going to have issues with me, then I guess we're going to have issues. That's what I get from her. She kind of reads the room and acts accordingly.
Okay, interesting. I feel like that's accurate. I really do.
I like her energy. Like she feels like fun. And like, she feels fun. That's what I get from her.
She is fun. She really is fun. Okay, she's definitely fun. So I think that's all. And I do agree, like just based on talking with her, she was like, well, I didn't really know about the show, which I'm always very skeptical. I'm like, how do you not know about the show? You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, and she did really want Kalani to excel. And Kalani's a beautiful dancer and all of those things. But she is fun. And I definitely think that just based on my interactions with her, when people are like, they attack her, she does attack back. If you're nice, she's nice. Like, totally, I get that. Like, I would agree with that. So far, you're 3 for 3. 4 for 4, because Neo's definitely right on the money. Okay. Who is next?
Okay, who is? Oh, I should have written down this picture name.
Is it Jill?
Which one's Maddie's mom?
Oh, that's
Jill?
Melissa.
That's different. That's Melissa's mom. I was looking at Maddie's mom. Which one's that one, Melissa?
Okay. That's Melissa. Yes.
Okay. All right. So when I look at her, okay, there's this thing people wear sometimes. I call it like inauthentic colors or whatever. And it's just kind of like, it doesn't mean you're fake. It just means that sometimes you'll use other energies as tools to get things done. And when I look at Melissa, I get this energy that she's a scrapper. And there's this feeling of her that it's like, how do I put this? In a very nice way. Okay, so it's kind of like if you're hers, she'll protect you, but everyone else is kind of fringe. So I get this thing that, you know, her kids and her are good, but like if she will ladder climb or she will utilize whatever she needs to get her and her people ahead. And I feel like she does not care if you like her, like one tiny iota. And like a lot of us are like, I don't care if people like me. No, she really doesn't care. And I feel like she does protect her interests first. And some of us could say, oh, well, that's a mom. That's what moms do, this and that. there's a line that we cross sometimes. And I think like when you're talking about being a family, you know, and the whole dance crew and all of that, I can see her being like, yeah. But then at the same time, not all her actions correlating with it. So I get that you can feel a little bit like, there's just some sort of wall. That's what it's a bit of a wall that I don't think you have. Even if you were fighting and throwing drinks at some other mom or whatever, like you two are going to hug and make up later. Like this one, no. Like she feels like once you cut her, it's even before that, like she just always has had a fortress around her and she can pretend it's not there, but it is. And, and that's what I get with her. Cause they even like, even on like looking at you guys, like I get like, she's just kind of like on her own, like just a lone wolf or something in this pack. And what's interesting is, I don't know if I should go right into it. When I look at Maddie's picture, Maddie, and I mean, we all know Maddie, I mean, just from television and stuff, but like, I feel like, she's got a very light blue aura. And I can just see the mother-daughter dynamic there is, yes, like maybe Melissa feels like she has to protect Maddie. But I also get that Maddie she's got to work on boundaries. I think like, you know, I'm a mom, you're a mom. We have kids, we have to teach them how to make their own boundaries. And I feel like Melissa was the boundary. And instead of Maddie learning, and hopefully she's learning that now because she's an adult or whatever, getting older, hopefully she's learning to make her own boundaries instead of asking her mom what her boundaries should be. Because I get that's kind of more of the issue, because when I see light blue fuzzy auras, I always get nervous about somebody not knowing their own limits or not knowing how to say no themselves or not knowing like where to stop or end or do things without somebody else helping them. Because I feel like Melissa did that a lot, you know. Well, she's probably like their manager and everything, right? Like she's like the person.
Well, they have lots of people in place, but she definitely is she's running the ship, you know, like for sure. And I mean, without getting into too much, like there is plenty of times that we as a group would agree on one thing and be like, yeah. Like we're going to take a stance and this is what we're going to do and not do. And then we would turn around and she would be doing it because it would get her kids like an edge. And it was like, damn it.
We all
like,
said that we weren't going to do that. Yeah.
Right. And it would end up like hurting us. And then she was just like, I don't care. And look, like her kids are ultra successful. So, you know, it was like and that's where my issue with her always came from, because I'm the person who's like, well, just own it. Like stop pretending that you're nice and you're like looking out for the group when you're 1000% like you're hugging me, but then you shove a dagger in my back, you know? Yeah. That's where we had that. Like that disconnect, she and I, which I feel like that makes sense to you, right? Like knowing our two personalities.
That's exactly. Yeah, it's just kind of like, and it's hard to even grasp her colors because it looks like a blur of a lot of them. So it's like, do you really even know her? You know? And I think, and part of you saying like own it or own yourself. Not everyone wants to own what they're doing, like with the intentions and the motivations behind it. Like it's okay to want your kids to be ultra successful. Like I want them to be ultra successful, but you can be upfront about it too. She wants her cake and to eat it too, to be perceived a certain way.
Yes,
and then also to have, you know, the end justify the means or whatever. You can do that. You can by saying like, hey, listen, like I respect all of you, but for me, I'm always going to choose my kids and winning over any relationship I have here. And maybe at least then everybody knows where they stand and can respect it better. But she's never going to say that because that would make her look like a total, you know, biatch, and she doesn't want to do that. So
got it. Well, that makes sense. Like that totally makes sense. So, okay. So she has Maddie and Mackenzie. Mackenzie's her younger daughter. So tell me a little bit about Mackenzie, and then I have a question about Maddie.
Okay. So Mackenzie, I'm looking at Mackenzie. She's going to be okay. Like when I get a little, like just, here's the thing.
Mackenzie's always going to be okay.
She's okay. Mackenzie's okay.
That's
Mackenzie's
funny because she's scrappy. Like she always has been.
She feels like she can give it back to her mother a little bit too.
1,000%.
Where Maddie's a little bit more nervous, like, will mom love me if I say no? Every kid's different. We all, you have 2 girls, I have 2 girls too. Like, it's funny how you get different personalities out of them. But with Mackenzie, she's got purple and yellow. So she's got this combination where she can see things for what they are and also speak up for herself.
Mackenzie's similar to me.
She is, yes. She's got kind of like a direct nature, but also can kind of, do that purple thing where you see what's happening and you have wiggle room with people or whatever. Okay, I get it. Whatever. I'll forgive you. Let's move on. But also, this is what's going on. Like, direct. And I feel like she can be, like a scrapper. Like, she's like a little bit. She can tell her mom, like, hey, she's got boundaries. Like, Mackenzie has more boundaries. Like, hey, I'm going to do this, even if you don't approve, this is how I'm doing things. And she also feels like she can handle attention better maybe than Maddie can even. You'd think Maddie could probably handle a ton of attention. She's had it, but I feel like there's a lot of anxiety and stuff there with her. And I feel like Mackenzie can compartmentalize it better. Maybe different kids are suited to the spotlight than others. And I can see that with Maddie, it was more about what other people think of you defines your success. And with Mackenzie, it's like what I think of me defines my success and what I like to do, like that kind of thing, which it's just 2 different motivating factors and a kid on that level.
That's so interesting. Really interesting. Okay, so I want to go back to Maddie for a moment because you said she's a light blue.
Yeah.
And we can go I feel badly because so much of the show was like it was like Chloe versus Maddie. This whole back and forth rivalry. But the reason I'm actually bringing this up, and I don't mean to be like Chloe versus Maddie, but what you said about Maddie having a light blue aura, Chloe has a bluish aura because she's turquoise.
Yeah.
Or is that different?
It's different for me.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it was similar or different. So, okay.
Well, just the way that, but the way, I guess if I was comparing the 2 kids, I would say, and as children, by the way, not now.
Sure.
Just on the show or whatever. I would say like Maddie had a lot of places had a need for external validation. And I feel like Chloe and that's just a light blue thing, the external validation, just because I feel like Maddie really did, feel other people's feelings as her own, but counted them more than her own in a way.
Aww, that's so sad.
And I always felt bad for her because she felt like she was a joyful little dancer and like a sweet girl and just truly talented. And all the girls are, but I think the reason why she might have even been not just her mother, but also just with Abby and getting favor from that would be she's a pleaser. She is a pleaser. And it's okay to be a pleaser. I'm a pleaser. You know what I mean? But you have to learn that you're a pleaser. And you have to learn that people can manipulate you because you're a pleaser. And you have to pick the right people to be a pleaser to. With Chloe, I feel like from day one, you were telling her not to be a pleaser. And I feel like from day one, you were always telling Chloe, like, what I just get you as a mother did things differently, and also she's turquoise. So I get with Chloe, and I've talked about this, I think when I was first a guest on your show, we talked about how turquoises can reflect to people and who they are. And people that don't like to see who they are might not like Chloe. So I can see Abby.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. I just had an epiphany. Okay,
yes,
go on.
Me. Oh, okay.
No, you were saying it. That's probably
get that Abby,
why.
Yes. Abby doesn't like herself, like established that we talked about that first. And she doesn't like herself and she's got a lot of issues and it's sad. And then Chloe has this ability to show you who you are. So I can see with the one-on-one stuff or the coaching or like whatever, I don't know, I wasn't in dance, or like that intense bond that forms between like Abby as a choreographer and Chloe as a dancer. That's like a lot of ways for Chloe to have these opportunities, which she's not even aware of. She just does as a person, as a soul, showing Abby herself. And Abby's like, can't handle it. And so it's just easier to work with a pleaser than it was to work with somebody who was showing a reflection of herself. I mean, that's the difference.
Oh, I'm like, I have like, that makes sense. Like, it makes sense to me. And I don't know if it's because I'm Chloe's mom, or whatever. But like, I mean, anybody who watched the show can see that there is a huge disparagement between the two and just the way they interacted and whatever. But that's really interesting. I also think it's super interesting that Mackenzie's like me.
Yeah.
Because I always did like have this little funny relationship with her. Because she was funny. Like, sort of like, I don't care, I could remember sitting on the damn bus with her and Melissa get a notification on her phone and her being like, what the fuck? And she's like, Mackenzie just bought a $200 app. And Mackenzie being like, yeah, I don't care, and her being like, you can't do that. Like, she's like, very, yeah, it's like, she was like, I don't care. Which is funny because Mackenzie and Clara got along very well when they were little. Like, they were kind of like the two bad little sisters, sort of.
That's so funny.
Without being bad, but just kind of like, those little pain in the ass sisters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, Clara's yellow too. So they like kind of get each other, which is cute.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So this is all so fascinating. Okay. Now, before I get to, I'm going to save Kelly for last just because like I clearly have a good relationship with her. Tell me a little bit about Kathy. Did you do Kathy?
Why don't I have a picture of Kathy? Hang on. Let me find that. I don't know why I don't have that one. Let me find her. Kathy, what's her last name?
Nesbit, Nesbit, I believe 2 T's. Stein.
Oh, yeah, there she is. Okay. I'm just like image searching her. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there she is. Oh, she's great. Okay. So where do I begin?
She's something.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Kathy, what I get, no filter. That's the first thing I get with her. There's just none.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like she's hysterical. And, but you know what? How you were talking about how it's a family or whatever. I can see her being, she's the annoying big sister. That's what I get from her. Like, she says awful things. And for some reason, you can forgive her. We don't know why. It's just like something, because I feel like she can't help it. So when I look at her, she's very purple, but she has blue too. And she wears like inauthentic yellow. So I feel like she tries to be or pretend that she's kind of like you guys or whatever, or she's more organized than she is or something like that. And I get that she'll just kind of come in like, and just rage or just say whatever she wants to say. Or she's totally a Karen. Like, she's the one that's going to push herself to the front of anything or like, excuse me, that's not how it works. Or like, there could be 100 things going on and she needs to talk about her agenda. Like, no, even if it's off topic. I mean, she just feels like one of those people. And I get that.
You said she's totally a Karen. You're not even talking about her haircut, right? You're just talking about her.
Yeah, like everything, really. She's just like the world centers around, like revolves around her. And but there's something forgivable about it because I feel like she truly doesn't know any better or something. So she just has some sort of, maybe she has like some sort of impulse problem or something with her mouth. Because I feel like it just comes out and there's nothing stopping it.
To be fair, I could have that problem as well.
That is so
I'm just
funny.
Saying. But no, she is the one who absolutely 1,000% would come in and say the most absurd things that you could ever imagine. And I would literally be like, what did she just say? Like, what? And like, then she would turn on her heel and storm out of the room. And you were just like left going like, what just happened? Like an annoying older sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
She feels absolutely situationally hysterical. Like, if she could be like a one-woman show or something. Like, that's what I get. And you could get mad, and I'm sure there's plenty of opportunities to get mad at the things she says, but I feel like she's equal opportunity pisser offer. Like, she'll piss off everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just like if she happens to, if you're in her way. That's what I get from her.
She doesn't care. No, she does not care. And the funny thing about Kathy is, I mean, I clearly argued a lot with Kathy on the show. Like, she was one of my arch nemesis. But you're also on a show where your job is to, like, argue and have these conversations. So to me, I always enjoyed Kathy because she was fun to fight with.
Yeah, and I can see, like, she can get, well, like a sister, you know, you can get low or nasty or that. But I also get that there's this other part of her that she has some limitation. Like, she's not cutthroat. She's just whatever. Well, like, she's good entertainment. She is probably a great person to bounce off of. Yeah.
Yes, that's 100%. She's a great person to bounce off of. And, like, she didn't care. She was fun to fight with. It was like I can deal with crazy. I can't deal with mean. Like, there's a difference. You know?
Yes, you just said it. That's exactly her thing. She's just a little loco, and that's it.
Yeah, and she's, you know what? She was always, like, I never knew what she was going to say, and it was always kind of like, what? You know, you're always sort of like, hold on, wait, what just happened? But it's harmless, kind of.
That is so funny.
If you will.
Yes, her energy, I definitely wouldn't want to deal with her in a customer service realm. Like, if I had to, like...
Because she wants to speak to your manager. Always.
Yes, she would. Like, I used to work at Macy's, and, like, I know this person. You know what I mean? Like, I know Kathy. Yes. Like, she's returning jeans that she wore 400 times, and they're 6 months old, and she wants to return them. And, you know, like, little, it's like, okay. Is. And she's always right. So that's Kathy, you know, and whatever, that makes her feel like she had a win. Sometimes with Kathy, and I get this, like, from her energy, it's like everything's a struggle, you know, and I feel bad for her because it's like we need to put down the struggle, because I feel like she's always felt like she's had to fight for everything. Like, everything's such a fight. And it's like, let it go. Like, you don't have to fight for everything. Maybe things just come to you and you don't have to argue about it. So that's what I get from her.
I love it. So just kind of saying, I cannot stress more how you have nailed every single person. And it's really crazy because, like, you self-admitted, like, I didn't really watch the show. And, like, I've talked to you personally, so it's not like you're just feeding this line out there where you're like, I'm going to just say what people watch. Because you're talking about some of the stuff that's kind of behind the scenes.
Okay.
And, you know, things that people wouldn't know that I know. And you are dead freaking on. Like, dead on. So it's really fun. Like, this is so fun. All right, so I
reading people who I don't know, honestly, better than celebrities, because, like, it's like your stuff's all out there, so it's easy to be like, oh, she looked it up. But I that's why when I read just normal people, that's easier for me just to get a picture or whatever. It's like, oh, good, nobody knows them, so here I go. You know, you can't non-Googleable things are my favorite things to do, but these are all Googleable people, so it's kind of like, well.
No, but I mean, again, like I said, just to kind of like validate you. Not that you need my validation, but you're some of the things you're saying, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. Like that. No,
I'm a pleaser. I need it, Christy. Thank you.
I know you are. I will validate you all day. And then you give me the attention that I deserve.
Okay, I will feed you much attention. I promise.
Thank you. I just so like a little attention. I can't help it. I can't help it. Everyone always asks me, you know, like, did you guys act more like dramatically when the cameras were on? And I'm like, listen, I'm really dramatic every day of my life. So, no. However, and I've said this about the entire cast, we would not have been on a reality show if we did not have the ability to turn it on when we needed to. Like, all of us in our own, like, selves. It's sort of like the way I always explain it, because I speak a lot to sorority girls, and everyone knows this person in college or wherever in life. We all know the girl who she's great, you're hanging out with her, whatever. But the minute a guy walks in the room, she has to have all of the attention on her at all times. Like, she's louder, she's this, she's bigger. We're all that person, but just in our own personality, and it's the camera instead of a guy. You know,
and that's
like,
back to that's back to the whole, do they cast you guys, like typecast you? And like, absolutely they do. Like they look for that. They found you. Like you were out there just wandering, doing your thing, and then they found
we were all really in the dance studio together, which is why it's so wild.
And they're like,
we were
let's just
sitting
bring
there
it
just
here.
waiting.
So you guys were already established in that studio with Abby?
100%. The only person who they brought into that show was Kathy.
Wait a second. I didn't know that. So, like, you guys had this whole... Was every day before anybody ever talked about a show, were you like, this should be a show?
Yes. Yes. Michaela, I can remember, and I kid you not, this is just nuts. Me being, again, dramatic. I can remember sitting upstairs, like far before there was a show, and literally, because the Housewives of OC had just premiered, which that was kind of like a phenom at the time.
Yes.
I can remember sitting upstairs and like visualizing what I would say in an interview. Because some shit had just gone down. I did manifest it. So I'm so sorry. But then again, you're welcome, world. But I would sit there and I was like, what would I say in my interview? And I would be like, she's a bitch. You know, whatever. I don't know.
I would say
I'm actually much more clever than just she's a bitch. Right. But yeah, totally manifested it. Totally believed that it was going to be like a thing before it was a thing. Yeah,
well, that's
crazy.
Why it was
but
so
we
successful.
were really there.
It was real.
Yeah.
It was really, really
It was real.
Whoa.
Yeah, so Kelly and I had known each other since the girls were 2. Holly was my neighbor. Yeah, Holly was my neighbor, and I knew her. She came onto the team. They were around 5. Melissa came the next year. And then Kathy didn't come on until, like, she was cast on the show. Okay, wait. Yes. We'll get into this, but we need to read Jill before we get to Kelly. I forgot about Jill.
Oh, Jill.
Okay, I'm very curious about Jill. Okay.
Jill's, I mean, of course, and that's another thing, like, I often do see a lot of purple people in reality TV, and all of you have, like, except for Holly's yellow blue, but, like, Jill is purple. She has red, too, but she's mostly purple. So she's got kind of, like, a firecracker energy. I get with her, she can go toe-to-toe with... But I get this image like she rides the fence. So I feel like she can kind of go one way.
She does ride the fence.
Yeah. And you're like, are you like Melissa? Are you Abby and Melissa's team? Or like, what's going on here? And then I get this other side of her. It's like, oh no, she's one of us. She gets it. Because that's her red and her purple. But not that the red, because like Holly's totally wasn't like, I don't feel like Holly was at all like that. But I just get with her, she would do things that were in her best interest for, like, whatever, her kid's career or being on the side of who has the power today versus also wanting to make sure you girls all, accepted her or made her, part of things. So I get that. And you wonder, like, is she lying? Is, like, one thing her and the other thing isn't? No, I think she's everything. Like, I feel like she's just one of those people. She could hang out with the one side. I don't know, I'm getting, like, teams here if, like, you guys were, like, kind of split up a little bit. But I get,
we are teams, 1,000%.
Okay. Yeah, because I could get her hanging out with the one side, and they're like, okay. And then, like, you guys, too, and you guys were like, okay. But then you didn't know which one was real, but they both were. That's what I get from her.
Okay, so here's the tea.
Okay.
It would be, we would all decide on one thing. Then Melissa would obviously cross the picket line always and, like, screw us. And then Jill was right behind her. And so then it would be the two of them. And then sort of like everybody else kind of like fell into place because we're like, great, our kids are going to get screwed. So now we have to all. So that was it over and over and over and over. So, but you nailed it. Like, she's kind of the divider between the teams. Yeah. And she's like, well, if it helps Kendall, why wouldn't I get it? Why wouldn't I do it?
She's not as bad. She just kind of like, she finds rationalizations for things. But I can see also she's the type too, like where she truly does like empathize with the rest of you girls. And she was like, oh, okay. And you can talk to her and she gives feedback. And she seems like she understands what's going on. And she does. But then she understands the other side too. So yeah, she's just like one of those flip-flop person.
So dead on. Like, it's just so dead on. Yeah, she's Jill.
Fun,
she is fun. Like, I don't mind. Oh my God, the things she used to wear on television. Like, every time she'd walk in, I was like, oh, I can work with this. But to be fair, I only wore cold shoulder tops and statement earrings, so I'm sure she was like, I can work with that. But okay, so
funny.
what about Kendall, her daughter? Did I send you Kendall?
Okay, let me look. I have page.
Which I know this episode's running a little long, so thanks for hanging in there.
Oh, yeah, this is fun. Okay, Kendall. Okay. Kendall's really purple, too, obviously. Okay. She's got I feel like she's got this thing. She got a Kardashian vibe. What does that mean? Sometimes I'll get, I get this thing like where she's in like the dancing and stuff like that. These are all kind of like stepping stones. I think a lot of, and you correct me if I'm wrong, please. Not that she's not a beautiful dancer, and I'm sure she was into that and all this, but I don't know if that's like the means to the end that she wants. It's more like the means to the end that she wants. I can see her wanting to be more influencer, her own brands or things like that. I'm getting the Kardashian vibe. Like, okay, what? And does she have a sister or something too? Is there another one? Oh, there is.
She has 2 sisters.
I can see her, she seems like a nice girl, but a lot like her mom in that whatever's in my best interest, I'm going to go that way. Not mean-spirited, wouldn't hurt anybody, might not always help people though. Just, I think like maybe all you girls, your girls were all in this crew together. So you think, oh, okay, like maybe they help each other out or they, they influence for each other. I don't know with her so much. I feel like I don't know if she's trying to carve her own way or her own identity or something separate from the dance mom vibe, but that's what I get from her, like her own brand wanting to form. But at the same time, I get kind of like a purple methodology to that, which is kind of all over the place. So I can see like, I don't know, like because I get like a bit of a disorganized vibe with how she's doing it, yet it's happening. I don't know. So it just feels like she's working on something, carving it out, but she's young.
Interesting. Okay. I would say that is, yes, I would say that that's fair and accurate as well. I do. Okay. So now we saved Kelly for last. And again, you don't really know this except for me saying like Kelly was my closest friend on the show.
Yeah.
Like we were definitely, well, go ahead. Tell us about Kelly and then I'll tell you like who we are as a friendship.
Well, she's yellow blue. She's like Clara. I mean, she's very but she feels when I look at Kelly, she's got mom vibes. And I get this and obviously she's a mom, but towards you, I get mom vibes. Oh, I should have gotten a picture of you two together to see this. Because I get this thing like
there's plenty of them on the internet.
I should look. Because I get this thing where you two she's a nurturing person and it's something that hold on, let me look at her up. Holly and Christi. I want to look this up, like you two together.
Well, wait, it's Kelly and Christi. I think you
sorry,
said Holly
Kelly. Oh my
Christi.
gosh. Yes, sorry.
That's okay.
Kelly. I'm getting everybody confused. Kelly and Christi.
That's okay. I mean, we're all kind of like,
oh, there we go.
Kelly,
yes.
Christi.
Okay. Got it. All right. So when I look at you and so Kelly, I feel like can nurture you. She can match you. She can take over for you. Like all that stuff. Like I feel like she's you do have sister vibes. And I feel like also I just get this thing, and I don't know if this is a little deep for your show or whatever, but I get this thing where
fine.
you need mom love. And I get that
yes,
it's something.
I
and I think it's something that Kelly has given you over the years, this like unconditional mom love in a way. And you don't, obviously she's not your mom or anything like that, but I get it's just something that you need and something that she recognizes in you and would never hold against you or anything, just lovingly gives that to you. And I can see her being somebody who just checks in with you or behind the scenes or like, I think we all know at this point kind of like how things go with reality TV and whatnot. And I feel like she would never do anything that would hurt you or call you out. I just feel like you two had each other's backs and I feel like you still do. And I get that she's just one of those forever people in your life, like family that you're not biologically related to, but she's very sweet, but I also get she can give it too, but it takes a lot of pushing for her, I feel, to get to like a point. And then I get, this is funny. And you got to tell me if this is true or not. I get that like she can give it good, but if she gets to the point where she kind of loses it, I feel like it's harder for her to recover than like if you get to that point or something.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yes.
So I get, like, if she gets to the point of being truly, truly upset or offended, and, like, where she loses it on somebody or goes, like, really, like, crazy or whatever, I feel like, yes, I feel like you're the one that's like, okay, girl, you got to let it go. Like, it's okay, Kelly. Like, it's calm down. Come on. And she's just got to, like, ugly cry it out and then get over it. And then but it's harder for her because she's blue.
It is hard for her.
Yeah,
it is
she takes things to heart.
For her. Yes, she freaking does. Okay, crazy. Well, Kelly is my absolute partner in crime. Like, we were always down to go get in trouble. Like, we'd be like, we're out of here, and we'd go drink. Or we would be like, screw everyone. There's a famous scene of us, which I didn't even know was a famous scene until I was on TikTok one day. And I was like, wait, is that my voice? And we were sitting upstairs, and I went and I found it because I have a hard time remembering what was aired versus what just happened. Like, I don't know what the audience is seeing versus my memory. And so there's a scene of us sitting upstairs, and I was like, oh, we were like, nobody likes us. And I think it was, she said, oh, just the two bitches are left. And we like sit there and we were cracking up at ourselves. We're like, we're the bitches. Nobody likes us. Well, now that I talk to sorority girls all over the country, I cannot tell you how many of them are like, we just love just the two bitches are left. And like somebody had it as a tattoo. I'm like, okay, you need to not have reality show tattoos. Yes. I'm like, wow.
Everyone's going to look this up on TikTok now, like right now.
Oh my God.
We're all going there immediately and checking this out.
Well, to be fair, last time I saw Kelly, I actually, I had us recreate the TikTok, like of she and I together, except we were each other because we were like, it's boring to be ourselves. So we were each other. But yeah, just the two bitches are left. So
that's weird. Okay. We're all going there.
And
right
what about
now.
her girls? So she has two girls.
Okay, let me look.
Brooke and Paige.
Okay, so, where did they go? Okay, Paige. Paige she's yellow with purple, but it's not like you exactly. Like, it's a little, your colors are very bright. Hers are a lot, like, just more pastel or softer.
Okay.
So I just get it's just kind of like how it sounds. Like, I feel like her approach to life is a little bit more serious or something, and she can be a little bit more focused and very in her head and things like that.
I don't get that from Paige, but I mean, look, maybe that's her inner workings, that I don't see. Because Paige is very like, well, when she was little, she was very like boisterous and outgoing, but I think she has become a little bit more reserved as she's gotten older.
Yeah, I mean, I just get like a more serious vibe from her. Although I am looking at this like, I don't know, headshot or something. But that's what I get from her. And then what's the other one? Oh, Brooke. Mm-hmm. Brooke's super cute. She's cute. She feels like she's very sensitive. So I get kind of like a sensitive thing, but also kind of like a bubbly. She's blue purple, so like this bubbly kind of purple energy. But I also get that she's like quick to care about somebody, quick to be concerned, quick to do that or whatever. But then also she's she's sweet. I get like it and very likable. It's easy to like Brooke. That's what I get from her.
Yes.
And she's fun, and I can see her like in dancing and something. She's kind of won people's spot. There's just something about her. Like people notice that.
Yep. And everybody wants to be Brooke's friend. Hell, I want to be Brooke's friend.
Yeah, me too. She's super cute.
Yeah.
I love her energy.
She is cute. And when I now when I go to LA, well, she actually just left LA because she was living in LA. She's like in her 20s now. But when I was in LA and she lived there, like I would text her and I'm like, hey, I'm in LA. And she's like, brunch? And I'm like, of course. Like,
that's so sweet.
Brooke's just fun to hang out with.
Oh.
So yeah, she's totally fun. She really is. So, well, I can't tell you how exciting this was for me. First of all,
fun.
I love you. I officially count you as one of my friends. I feel like you are just you're like one of my people. I don't know. I adopted you. I don't care if you like me back.
I love you back. I can't believe I'm in with the dance moms. I feel like the cool kid. I can sit in the top of that room you guys were always yelling in. I'll sit next to you. I'm excited.
Perfect. You sit next to me in that room. I will protect you because I know sometimes you need protected.
I do.
It's fine.
I do.
Yeah.
You get me.
Oh, my God. Wait. Really quickly. Hold on. Yes. So we'll just do this for me. What was my role on Dance Moms? Tell everyone what my stereotype role was.
listen, you said what had to be said. You know, you said
I just said what everyone was thinking.
That's right. You said it. You weren't too full of yourself not to. You're like, you know what? I'll say it. All you all are thinking about it. Y'all told me to say it, and now I'm going to say it like that. And I just feel like you just couldn't let it sit there. You're like, I'm going to say it. And I feel like people loved it.
Or hated me. They either loved or hated me. So I don't care, though. I really don't.
Yeah.
But yes, you are my friend. You can come visit me
Christi.
anytime, hang out on my couch.
Can't wait.
You. This was probably one of my most funs ever. My most fun episodes ever.
I can't wait to listen back. Thanks so much, Christi.
Yes. Wait, tell everyone where they can find you one more time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Mystic Michaela, and my podcast is Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela.
Okay, well, thank you again for coming. And again, that was just so fun. So kisses. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Was I right or was I right? Crazy. Was that not the craziest? Listen, you can say all you want, like, oh, she knows who people are and she watched the show. I don't think she did. Like, I really don't. Just based on all the conversations I've had, I really think she just gets it. But my God, is she dead on? It was crazy. The only one I would say maybe not was Paige. But, you know, maybe Paige has changed. And maybe that's a little bit more how she is as an adult versus like the bubbly Paige I knew as a kid. I don't know. But everything else was so freaking scary and like crazy. And that was probably one of my most fun interviews I've done. So if you loved it as much as me, well, I shouldn't say if you, I should say I hope you loved it as much as me, because I think that was absolutely fun and so interesting. Okay, so now we are getting back into some of your listener questions, and I'm really excited to answer these. But before I do, I just wanted to quickly remind you to please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Just a quick, even if you just go in and click a quick 5-star, it helps me so very much on all of the, the charts, and it takes literally 2 seconds. If you want to write a sentence, super, I love to hear it. But if you can just do a quick star review, that would be super helpful as well. Okay, so now we are going to, actually, I think I'm only going to answer one question this week because I feel like it has a lot to it. So, and there's no way I could answer everything about this question, but I think it's really interesting. So someone wrote in and said, talk about being a mom. I'm a first-time mom now to a 10-week-old daughter. Did you struggle with postpartum anxiety, depression? What's the biggest challenge about raising daughters? What's your best advice to new moms? We need all of the mom advice. So I think that is such a good question, but such an in-depth question because there's no way I can answer that at the end of a podcast. But I will say, as a new mom, I think that we put this unbelievable amount of pressure on ourselves to check all of these boxes, especially with social media being the way it is. And we go on Instagram and we see all of these like moms that are living this, fantasy life and everything is perfect and it's clean and the babies are, fed and perfect and they're matching outfits and it's their minis. Everyone has a mini. But look, here's the truth. Social media is an effing lie. It really is. And those moms that are making you feel like a shitty mom, 99% of them have an entire staff of people. And I don't mean people who live in their house staff. I mean like they have a photographer or they have somebody come in and like set up this fake cooking arrangement and they have like, they pick out all of these outfits, they throw them on their kids and they snap a photo. That is not their daily life. Their daily life looks like ours. It's messy. It's covered in spit up. It's, it's sleepy. It's aggravated. It's just all of those things. It's questioning if you're doing a good job. It's self-doubt. It's all of the things that all new moms go through. Honestly, my biggest piece of advice is keep your baby alive and keep yourself sane. Seriously. I know that sounds like, oh, you must be joking because that's so like weird to say. Honestly, it is hard to keep a human alive and like figure out every little thing they need. And it's even harder to keep yourself in a good mindset. So keep yourself sane. Like, take a nap, go for a walk, be nice to yourself. Like, if you need 10 minutes to wash your hair and the baby doesn't let you do anything other than, hold them, put them in their bouncy seat, put them in the bathroom, let them scream, take a shower, wash your hair. You'll feel better. That baby will be fine. It's like, I don't know when society became this place that with these unrealistic expectations. And I can tell you, like, it's killing us. Like, it's killing all of us. And I just want to be out there for all of the moms saying, you're doing amazing. Like, you are so, so amazing. And keep it up. Your kids, they will hate you when they're 19 or 11 or whatever. But you're doing a fabulous job, and just keep it up because, those giggles and smiles and all of those wonderful things make it worth it, not the Instagram likes, truly. One other thing I do think it's super important that I mention, and that's the question about postpartum anxiety and depression. 1,000%. I suffered from postpartum. However, it wasn't something that was commonly diagnosed. It wasn't. So was I ever clinically diagnosed? Nope. But did I have it? I am about 99% sure in my brain. There's no way those feelings I had weren't postpartum, and they needed to be addressed. And I know that now, just based on some of the mental health issues that I face every day. And look, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm really not. Like, it's hereditary. If I had hereditary diabetes, like, it wouldn't be a big thing. But I think mental health is so stigmatized, obviously. And I think that I have this whole fear of talking about it because I was on TV being a psychopath for a really long time. And I feel like I have a lot of people out there that are just waiting to be like, we knew you were crazy, and like put the stigma back on me. So I don't talk about it. But the truth is that it needs to be talked about because people need to not feel alone. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. And postpartum is serious. It definitely needs treated. It's treatable, but you need to take care of yourself. Like, I remember just being so dark and crying and just not understanding. And it made me feel even worse because it was like, oh, I don't love my baby. But none of that is true. So if you feel like you are struggling with postpartum, please have a conversation with a medical professional. Totally. Please do it. But look, the other thing I'm going to tell you is even if you don't have postpartum, you probably have shitty days, and we all have them. So next time you're having a shitty day, just remember, I am sending you all of the mom pixie dust. You will get through it. I promise. So keep your chin up, keep that baby alive, and wash your hair. All right, that's about it for me this week. I hope that you have a spectacular weekend, and I'll see you next week. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing while you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies, and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. And then we cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy podcast on your podcast app.